This film is packed with parodies of numerous famous movies, but at its core, it's a caricature of military films and action blockbusters, filled with iconic quotes, visual gags, and a star-studded cast. Movies Inside Out presents Hot Shots is an American comedy that hit theaters in 1991. Why did 20th Century Fox almost refuse to produce it? What movie references can be found there? How did real military personnel react to the plot? And what does the Michael Jackson family have to do with it? You'll find out all of this and more in our new video. The creation story. Jim Abrahams, the son of a research scientist and a lawyer, was known for his sharp sense of humor from a young age. During his college years, he met brothers David and Jerry Zucker, and together they formed a creative trio known for producing parody and satire sketches. Starting in 1977, they began releasing spoof films like The Kentucky Fried Movie, Airplane, Top Secret, Ruthless People, and The Naked Gun trilogy. In addition to their fondness for exclamation points, the trio developed a unique style, a mix of deadpan humor, farce, and visual gags. Pat Proft, who had worked on The Naked Gun, collaborated with Abrahams after he separated from the Zucker brothers to start his solo directing career. Together, they came up with the idea for a parody of military films. The project that would become Hot Shots was titled as a play on the term, which refers to someone who thinks they're cool or talented, though it can also refer to arrogant people who only believe they're great. The title reflects the film's sarcastic take on action movie heroes. Abrahams and Proft's script mocks the stereotypical characters of military films, exposing their absurdity and overused tropes. The movie primarily parodies popular action films like Top Gun with Tom Cruise, Rambo, and Rocky. But it doesn't stop there. Hot Shots references nearly 30 other films and TV shows, including classics like Only Angels Have Wings, 1939, Gone with the Wind, The Wizard of Oz, The Godfather, Francis Ford Coppola's Vietnam War film, Apocalypse Now, and the Superman films from 1978 and 1980. These references add an extra layer of enjoyment for movie buffs. Leave a comment with the movie quotes or references you spotted in Hot Shots. There are plenty to find. The name of the main character, Topper Harley, is itself a nod to the only scooter ever produced by the Harley-Davidson Company. Interestingly, Topper's real name is Sean, as seen on his badge when he meets Ramada in her office. The script for Hot Shots went through multiple revisions to ensure the humor was sharp, the parodies were spot on, and there were no plot holes. This was especially important since Jim Abrahams' previous film, Welcome Home, Roxy Carmichael, was a commercial failure and didn't even get a wide release. The plot of Hot Shots revolves around a military operation in Iraq called Sleepy Weasel, where US Navy pilots enter Iraqi airspace to take down then-leader Saddam Hussein. The writers didn't even bother changing Saddam's name, but the film's connection to real events nearly got it shelved. Tensions in the Persian Gulf were high at the time, and by 1990, the situation had escalated to a critical point. 20th Century Fox seriously considered scrapping the project, wondering if it was appropriate to release a comedy about attacking Iraq while real military operations were happening there. Casting. The main character, Sean Topper Harley, is primarily a parody of Tom Cruise's character in Top Gun. Charlie Sheen was cast in this role and began intense training to get into shape. Interestingly, the decision to build muscle was Sheen's own, not the director's.
Gentlemen, he's back.
Prior to Hot Shots, Charlie had faced several financial flops with films like Navy SEALs, Men at Work, and The Rookie. Admiral Thomas Tug Benson was initially considered for Leslie Nielsen, a favorite of director Jim Abrahams. Known for his other comedic roles, Nielsen had worked with Abrahams before, but replied, "I think I've made enough parody films with you." It's rumored that Nielsen didn't want to play a supporting role. George C. Scott was also considered, though he wasn't closely associated with comedies. Abrahams then offered the role to another familiar actor, Lloyd Bridges, who had previously starred in Airplane.
Pudding?
No, thank you, sir.
Alongside Nielsen, Topper's love interest, Ramada Thompson, was played by Italian actress Valeria Golino.
Lieutenant, you're staring.
No, not really. I'm lost in your eyes.
While British actor Cary Elwes portrayed Lieutenant Kent Gregory, call sign Washout.
But him, he's the type of guy that could end up killing every man in this outfit.
John Cryer and Christy Swanson, who had both starred in Pretty in Pink, 1986, also joined the cast. Cryer played Lieutenant Jim Deadmeat Pfaffenbach, while Swanson portrayed Ensign Janet Washout Kowalski.
You okay?
This is an incredible coincidence, but the hunter who mistakenly killed your father, my father.
Basketball players Charles Barkley and Bill Laimbeer made cameo appearances, reenacting their infamous on-court fight from 1990. In the film's promotional materials, it was humorously claimed that Saddam Hussein was played by Saddam Hussein himself. Of course, this was a joke. The role was actually played by his lookalike, Jerry Haleva, who, interestingly, is a professional lobbyist in the US. Filming process. In January 1991, multinational forces launched Operation Desert Storm, and 20th Century Fox nearly canceled Hot Shots, due to its striking resemblance to real-world events. The only thing that saved the film was that production had already been underway for 2 weeks. A significant portion of the $26 million budget had been allocated, meaning Fox would have lost a lot of money if they shut down production. The studio decided to finish the film, but planned to delay its release if the military operation dragged on. Charlie Sheen admitted that it felt strange to wear a military uniform while seeing similar images in the headlines every day. Hot Shots was filmed in several locations, including California, Arizona, and Nevada. The set designers not only revived an old, decommissioned naval base, but also created an aircraft carrier. A real carrier was beyond the budget, so a wooden deck was built on shore. The illusion that the ship was at sea was created through the work of the cinematographers and clever camera angles. The jets used in the film were British light fighters, Folan Gnat. In reality, these planes were never part of the US military and weren't capable of operating from aircraft carriers. They were used in the UK until 1979. The Iraqi interceptors were portrayed by American fighters, the Northrop F-5 Freedom Fighter and the Northrop T-38 Talon, the latter primarily used for pilot training. Interestingly, the aircraft carrier in the final scene bears the number 81. At the time of filming, and even today, there is no US aircraft carrier with that number. The ship Doris Miller is expected to enter service with that designation in 2032. The atmosphere on set was fun and carefree. The cast and crew bonded, often playing pranks on each other. This camaraderie contributed to the success of the comedy, not just the script. However, the film also touches on serious themes. Topper Harley likely suffers from post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD. He has nightmares about an incident involving his father and the postman, experiences rapid heartbeats, and even panic attacks when someone mentions his father. These are all symptoms commonly associated with PTSD. But overall, Hot Shots is about absurd and comical situations.
Holy cow. My cap blew off.
Swing around, we'll pick it up.
But sir, we're on the mission.
For example, when Topper speaks with the Native American chief, their conversation is gibberish mixed with English words and names.
Maromidai, Dipthong, Wekshaw.
A phrase translated as a request to buy batteries consists of the names of the Jackson family members: LaToya, Tito, Jermaine. Instead of using Native American languages, the script included the names of Minnesota towns like Owatonna, Mendota, and Orono. Interestingly, when Topper tells the chief that Ramada rejected him, he uses the word
Hershiser.
meaning she threw him a curveball. This is a reference to Orel Hershiser, the star pitcher for the Los Angeles Dodgers, famous for his curveball, which helped the Dodgers win the 1988 World Series, just 3 years before the film was released. The bad guys' code names are the names of ethnic foods: baklava, pita, hummus, couscous, baba ganoush, and others. Their dialogue often sounded like a menu from a Middle Eastern restaurant or consisted of cliched phrases. In one scene, Topper sends his regards from Paula Abdul. The American singer and actress was mentioned in the film for a reason. At the time of filming, she had just started dating Charlie Sheen's brother, Emilio Estevez. They later married, though their marriage only lasted a couple of years. Additionally, Hot Shots includes footage of an aircraft carrier from the 1980 film The Final Countdown, which starred Charlie's father, Martin Sheen. Stock footage and scenes from other films featuring aircraft carriers and taking off or landing jets were also used. There's also a reference to one of Lloyd Bridges' earlier projects. In the late 1950s and early 1960s, Bridges starred in the detective series Sea Hunt as a diver, and in Hot Shots, his character mentions that he used to be a diver. Valeria Golino claimed that the scene where she catches an olive in her mouth after it is shot from a belly button was done without special effects. However, it's believed that a mannequin was likely used. The creators of the film also put effort into the closing credits. Between the usual names, they included several recipes, one of which was a brownie topping that referenced the main character's name. There's also a list of suggested activities after watching the film, such as visiting a library, helping someone learn to read using a computer, learning a foreign language, signing up for fitness, visiting a dairy farm to learn about milk production, and more. At the very end, the filmmakers humorously note that if viewers had left at the start of the credits, they would already be home. Movie mistakes and errors. Now let's start counting the goofs and mistakes in Hot Shots. When the ambulance approaches the crash site of Dead Meat's plane, it's an old Ford model, but when it stops, it's suddenly a Chevrolet. In subsequent shots, the ambulance repeatedly switches back and forth between a Ford and a Chevrolet. And yes, the license plate also changes. After his ejection, Dead Meat lands with a square parachute, but in the next scene, it transforms into a round one. Little later, the ambulance drives past Lieutenant Pfaffenbach's parachute, aka Dead Meat. But in the next shot, the parachute is snagged on the back of the ambulance. During the Superman parody scene, Ramada's right earring disappears and reappears several times. When the jets land on the aircraft carrier, the arresting hooks are visible in close-up shots, but they disappear in the wide-angle shots. There are a few moments where the audio and video don't sync properly. For example, when Benson is talking to one of his subordinates aboard the aircraft carrier, his lips move after he finishes speaking. Also, when Topper arrives at Ramada's house on his motorcycle, he's riding a Honda, but the engine sound is that of a Harley Davidson. And when Dead Meat's plane crashes and Topper tries to stop his wife from seeing it, you can see her face in the mirror. However, when she exclaims, "Oh no!" her lips don't move in the reflection. In a couple of scenes, you can see that the actors are replaced by stunt doubles. And a few times, you can spot the camera and crew reflected in Topper's sunglasses. When Admiral Benson exits the plane for the first time and is escorted to be briefed on the mission, you can see what looks like the shadow of a camera on the engine of the plane, just to the right of the frame. When Topper performs his bicycle stunt and Ramada swings from a tree branch, a gymnastics bar is briefly visible in some shots. When the ambulance stops at the hospital, you can see a paramedic's hand on the left side of the screen, waiting for dead meat to hit the ambulance so they can jump out and open the door. The film also misuses some military terms.
Hit the enemy toast.
I think that's the enemy coast, sir.
Huh?
For example, dead meat says Harley is AWOL, absent without leave. But in the US Navy, this term is only used after 30 consecutive days of absence. Before that, the correct term is unauthorized absence. Deleted scenes. In the first Hot Shots, the filmmakers didn't focus much on bonus content, behind-the-scenes videos, or preserving bloopers. There's only one scene that appeared in the trailers, but didn't make it into the final cut. In this scene, Ramada asks Kent Gregory if he has a billiard ball in his pocket, or if he's just happy to see her, and Kent pulls out a ball. Due to censorship, several versions of the film exist. In Australia, profanity was removed to maintain a PG rating, allowing children to watch the film with adults. The full version was only released on DVD many years later. The UK version was also trimmed, with a disclaimer added about the dangers of inhaling helium. For the TV version, another scene was cut, resulting in a total reduction of 22 seconds. A full version with a 12 rating was finally released in 2013. Worldwide recognition. The Gulf War officially ended on February 28, 1991. Before Hot Shots finished filming, production wrapped in early April, so the studio didn't have to postpone the release date. The film premiered as planned on July 26, 1991. Interestingly, around the same time, The Naked Gun 2.5 was also released, marking the last time two major parody films premiered during the summer season in the US. Both films were relatively inexpensive to produce and became popular with audiences. Hot Shots debuted at #1 in the US, earning $69 million domestically. Worldwide, it grossed $181 million. The film was well received not only by audiences, but also by critics, who praised its humor and performances. Special recognition was given to how well the filmmakers imitated the action genre. Additionally, Hot Shots performed excellently in video rentals. To the great relief of Fox Studios, the film didn't spark any backlash due to its similarities to real-world events. Neither in the US nor the UK, whose troops were also involved in the Gulf War. In fact, Hot Shots was selected for the Royal Film Performance in 1991, attended by Queen Elizabeth II. Naturally, after such success, a sequel wasn't far behind. Work on Hot Shots Part 2 began almost immediately. It premiered in 1993. While the first film primarily parodied Top Gun, the second installment focused on Rambo. Interestingly, Hot Shots Part 2 even cast an actor from the Rambo franchise, Richard Crenna. Before accepting the role, Crenna asked for Sylvester Stallone's blessing, and Stallone was not only supportive, but excited to see his film parodied. Jim Abrahams had also hoped to cast Marlon Brando in the sequel, but the actor declined the offer. Returning to their roles in Hot Shots Part 2 were Charlie Sheen, Lloyd Bridges, and Ryan Stiles. Although, Stiles played a completely different character. Valeria Golino also returned for the sequel, and considers it one of the best films of her career. As for the other actors from the first Hot Shots, they crossed paths only in other projects. Christy Swanson reunited with Charlie Sheen 3 years later in The Chase, and John Cryer worked with Sheen and Stiles on the sitcom 2.5 Men. Interestingly, the studio allocated less money for the second film, $1 million less than for the first. Nevertheless, it was a success, grossing $130 million. Why there was never a third or subsequent film remains a mystery. Hot Shots became a comedy classic and one of the best parody films in history. The movie has a dedicated fan base that continues to celebrate its unique humor even decades after its release. Several scenes have become popular internet memes, shared and referenced by online communities. The film's influence on popular culture is a testament to its enduring comedic appeal. Moreover, Hot Shots helped popularize the parody genre in cinema and inspired future creators of comedy films. The success of Hot Shots can be attributed to the talented cast, brilliant script, and professional direction. Its sharp humor, memorable characters, and incredible parodies of popular films made it a cult classic. The unique combination of satire and farce makes it a must-watch for any movie fan. Have you seen Hot Shots? Which part did you like more?